Hello guys, Linker here off script with a follow-up overview of the changes in the last patch, and I did quite some ant work to get the bottom of what's beneath all the surface. Let's get right into it. Alright, so sadly, new code system, have to use it. Anyways, if any of you want to play on the test server on BlueStacks like I do from my computer, I'll leave a link in the description below. Definitely go ahead and check that out. It's affiliated, will help me out if you do that. Anyways, so new code system, what you do is you take the user ID over here, you ask them to send you the code, you get back the code in your in-game mail, you copy that, and then you're in this system. So it'll say your own profile name, it's an in-game identifier, and from that you can get huge rewards. So here I'm gonna redeem this gift code and I'll put in the description for you guys. This is gonna be huge rewards that you can get right off the bat. Definitely take it, lots of stuff there, I think worth even the login, even if you don't like this kind of things. Anyways, back on track. They buffed PvP, so first purchase gift is gonna be this new awesome banner, this new voyage, everything we talked about. And the main interesting thing that you should know about is Warfwits. If you haven't checked it out, definitely an awesome event. I'll play it some more on Twitch stream, link below if you like that. And there's also the new Alna event. So this is gonna be an event that you acquire Alna, and some of you remember Lucius rewards. It's just gonna be doing these tasks, so definitely remember paying attention to who you achieve victories with in lab. This is gonna be important. You might even want to do an easier difficulty lab just to have this easier. Anyways, double fights do count towards this, which is pretty cool. You will probably want to redeem all of those and get your Alna, and that's that. Now on to the most interesting part of this video. We have a bunch of hero reworks we want to talk about, and for that I'll go on the test server just to show you guys. Link in the description below if you want to check out the test server and everything like that for yourself, so you'll be able to be informed on anything before it happens. And we're going to start off with Antandra. So Antandra, she got the reworked, was the biggest one this patch. I just want to run over the actual changes that happened and then summarize it for you so that you know your own decisions. She got the biggest change in this patch. This was a rework, starting with her ultimate. This is now prioritizing the highest attack enemy, reduced the scaling on it, and they did it as stun. Antandra was already on immunity frames during this, they just added the text, and she's also gonna ignore enemy dodge. Knowing Lilith, this might be another translation fix instead of a buff, who knows. Anyways, they moved the enemy scaling attack from her spear to this. If it's used as an ability, it's up to a 40% steal, 450% on her own attack rating. We'll talk about that in just a bit. She no longer increases her health regen on this, and the spear is one use happening after 3 seconds of battle. As for her knockdown, they debuffed her scaling and buffed the healing on this, and the signature item no longer heals her. Instead, she buffs allies striking the marked enemies, and her 9 out of 9 now requires less healing to proc. Let me show it over here to give you less attack, more energy, and about the same CC immunity. Now, what do all these changes mean with Antandra? First, let me say it's a healthy shift for her. Look, knockdown CC, teleport, utility were always awesome. Now she has the targeting in her ultimate, and the issue is that in the past she was badly focused. She was a jack of all trades, master of none. On damage and self-healing, she was easily outdone by anything resembling an ice hold, and on the CC front, she had a lot of tight competition. The fact that she now buffs allies and has an easier time ulting and landing her CC will make her a utility hero who can steal attack ratings. That's actually good for Maulers to have, but sadly for her, Maulers are not the only faction in the game. Stealing enemy scaling is nothing new, with heroes like Mahira, Daemon, and even Namora doing what she does better, and as we predicted in the other video, she was a make or break rework. I don't think she got enough to see mainstream use now. While players that use her will be less punished, in campaign she's not gonna be pushing past the C tier, and in PvP environment she will still be very harsh to her. So overall, good change, healthy change that will make buffing her easier, but not as good as some people hype it to be. Models like Brutus, Satrana, Sophia take priority over her, not to talk about stuff like Scrag and Skriath. Next up, we have Mazoth. So as normal, he cannot be controlled when his health is higher than 50%, and they gave him the old furniture ability and the duration of debuffs reduced by 50% as well on the passive for free. So that's gonna be a buff. Now for the coolest part about us, look at his new furniture. The new furniture, what's cool about that is that he now executes enemies. This is regardless of scaling, and in 9 out of 9 makes him recover health and energy for doing that. This will make him even tankier, making him a better version of who he used to be. While the change isn't completely meta defining, it's a buff he's going to enjoy, especially in PvP where fast debuffs he counters is stuff that's really common to see. Also, his utility is now so good that he might even give a fight to the Time Twins in Gazing priority, but I do not believe these changes will overcome the fact he needs the team to be built around him. This means that players will still have to have a good roster of heroes before they can really enjoy what M'Zoth brings to the table, which is still gonna prevent him from going any higher in the Gazing priorities. Pharrell, awesome hero. I actually had an overview video for Pharrell, definitely check it out. What they did is the old 9 and the 3 maneuver, a well-known Lilith maneuver. That itself isn't do or die. The thing is, the new 9 out of 9 gives him the accursed arrow S and normal attack. Now that's pretty big, and players are already know to solve Pharrell's low normal attacks with haste. Think stuff like Leica or Twins, super common to see with him. This means they'll be able to more consistently bring forward the spirits. As you know, consistency is the language of PvP, and I'll be looking forward to see more Pharrell in the very top levels of PvP, where you can have access to complete investment. We'll see how good he is, especially in Stall and Celos Graveborn sets. Athalia. Now, the Athalia change is something I get asked a lot about, and ever since Aziz became the hero of choice, people kind of forgot about how good she is at countering things. Her main issue is the fact that she scales off of flat scalings, so if enemies become stronger, she's harder to use. But she still does what she does great, even at min power, so the change to her is going to be the signature item. Now, it took me a couple reads to get, but it now applies the plus 30 when enemies are injured. This is the only change here, this is the only thing that changed, but it actually changes quite a lot. As far as her counter usage goes, it means Athalia plus 20 will be more viable than before, allowing people to grab her and not invest in her as much. But if you look into her furniture, she gets basically an extra ultimate alongside a normal attack buff every 15 seconds. This will apply to her healing reduction, meaning Athalia mains in campaign might be a thing, but more importantly, this changes her consistency. Guys, every time Linker says consistency, he's talking about PvP, because who cares about consistency in campaign where you could just retry it? That's what everybody does. People with these 1000 macros, nobody cares. Then this is gonna make her apply much more counter healing than before, consistently. And you know what's a hero that hates counter healing? Talene. So many Athalias will come to PvP, and she fits in many places. You'll see her install in Burst, even in some Ainsgard comp sets. Definitely looking forward to see where Athalia goes now with her new buffs. Now, my precious Aziz. Look, this is where Lilith thinks needs a buff. Sometimes I suspect they're going off of hero popularity or something, because Aziz did not need a buff. I see people placing Aziz to feeble mind stuff like Gorvo, M'Zoth, and telling me he gets hit. He gets one hit if you do not use his mitigations or put him in the right slot. That's right. Anyways, the 3 to 9 maneuver, normal stuff we see over here, but they gave him more crowd control. 2 heroes now get pulled. This is huge in campaign and PvP, giving the God Comp more control, and I'm generally curious to see if faster God Comp parries like Ainz or slower ones like Soros and Talene will use this better. It might seem like a small change, it's just one more hero getting pulled for a few seconds from the front line, but extra beat of God Comp control is something that really pays off if you consider how global team control they already have, basically tightening the space where other heroes can even move against the God Comp. Big stuff for those of you that, like me, invested in him. Looking forward to see where that carries us. And for the last change I'm going to really talk about, Odin, they changed his signature item. It now has the buffing section of his old furniture, but it's only to himself. The old signature item was underwhelming outside of the haste, so I'm pretty on board so far. As for the furniture, they made quite a change here. They sadly no longer buff allies. That's the part where I like the most, because it was so weird seeing Odin buff allies. You wouldn't think he does that, but that's what he used to do. He instead reduces energy regeneration, and he also does the portals every 8 seconds. This is going to be pretty meaningful. More portals making him more viable overall, not by a whole tier ranking, but definitely a good ally to Azul, Daemon, or Pippa. I bet this is going to make us see more in endgame campaign than we already do, fulfilling mostly the same role. but much better than he used to. So looking forward to see that, not a huge change, but a good change that might even push him forward against some of those substitutes that he used to compete in priority against. As for the last two changes, we kind of covered these with Joker and Lucretia. Short version is Joker is slightly more consistent and they buff Lucretia even more. I don't know why, but some of these shifts are really cool, so like and subscribe for more content. Go redeem your codes, and for now, I've been Linker. Peace.